Boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to an edition of Skol Gang 365. I'm your host, Darren Ryan, and let's welcome on Rob from the BWO. What's going on tonight, Rob?
Oh, not a lot. Been having a pretty good day. Had a good time on the noon podcast and everything, and looking forward to having another good one tonight here. So,
Let's see. We got a Lions fan in the comment talking college football.
oh, of course, because why wouldn't they? Yeah, I just got done with the open mic on the show right before this one started, so I jumped off of there. So I'm still working on trying to get everything hooked up here.
Yeah, well, Andrew, you know who else is a fake tough guy? So let's go back to that Thanksgiving when everybody was getting a piece of the turducken and David Montgomery out of everybody decided to go after a carrot. So let's not talk about a tough guy.
Right.
So tomorrow's game's gonna be interesting. So number one rush defense, Minnesota Vikings go up against a decent run game. We got I'd say, in my opinion, top 10 passing offense going up against top 15, top 13 defense. So it's gonna be an interesting matchup. I like our odds because we're at home. One thing that needs to change is how we play in the second half. We need to stop letting these teams hang around. Like, if we already have a shot to take the game away, there's no need to throw them a rope and let them come back. So I
for
look
sure.
for O'Connell to try to better utilize the game planning.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things is finishing the games out and not just kind of quitting like we did. You know,
What's going on, Sully?
Not much. What's going on, you guys? That was fun. That was fun taking Darcy to task, man. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, the show right before this if you're watching on TV, if you're watching on Roku TV, that was fun. We had Darcy on there. We were just giving him the old business.
Oh my God.
He's got me blocked forever. I'd read
man.
but nah.
Gotta love a Canuck.
Yeah. What were you guys talking about? My bad. I'm sorry.
Oh no, we were just talking about And honestly, I think that we will win by 2 scores.
Yeah.
To be honest, but they do have a decent running game with Arizona, and Chicago could have been a blowout if we would have not went to sleep and let them score 2 times in like the last 50 seconds.
Yeah,
of the game. That's the shit that irritates me.
Yeah. Or the Jacksonville game and the Tennessee game.
True.
For example, I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like when we had pinned Tennessee down within their own goal line, their backs to the end zone, and all of a sudden Will Levis out of nowhere fucking 98-yard bomb, and I'm like, this looked like Gus Frerotte against the Bears at the Metrodome.
Right? I was at that game too, by the way.
It's like, what the? I was like, why the fuck do we even give them that chance? And go back and look at it. Kept blitzing, and I'm like, all right, obviously we need to get back into coverage and stop blitzing.
Yeah.
And 98-yard bomb down our fucking throat.
Right.
Didn't help that our corners end up getting burned. Most of our secondary was toast on that play, and I was just like, are you kidding me? By a no-name fucking receiver.
Yeah, and the funny thing of it is, you mentioned that game from Frerotte to Berrien. I was at that, and the messed up thing of it is I was on my way down to the old urinal stalls, the horse trough stalls.
Oh my god!
And it's like, yeah. So I turn around, run back up just to see him running in the end zone. I'm like, how long was that? Oh yeah, I tied the NFL record. Nice. Oh, that was good.
Oh
shit.
My god, those old days at the Metrodome, man. I remember going there as a kid and go through the doors and try not to get fucking blown away because the wind whips right through those doors.
Yep. So I there was a lot of good things that happened in this Bears game. Like, they decided they were going to put 2 to 3 guys on Justin Jefferson and shut him down. Fine. So this has happened before, and lots of times the team doesn't respond. But Jordan Addison had like 167. TJ Hawkinson had 117. Aaron Jones, I don't remember. It was like 110 or something. It was over 100. The rest of the team all stepped up. And that's what's supposed to happen. Like, if you want to take our main weapon away, we'll kill you with all the other ones. And I'm glad to see that happen. It's just, I don't think our defense can go to sleep in the last minute of the game and just think that they have something won. And all of a sudden, oh, fuck, now we got to go to overtime because we went to sleep on them. They scored 2 times in the past, 50 seconds or whatever. And now we got, I mean, we won, but
Right.
And am I overly concerned about the Cardinals? No. I mean, you got James Conner. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie. There's some guys you got to pay attention to, but in our own house,
we just can't take Arizona lightly.
Right. In our own house, we should win by 2 scores.
Right.
But should do something and do actually do something, or 2 different things. What are we going to do this week? It's like, I want to see a complete game where we do everything we're supposed to do, and we don't have any of the mental errors, we don't have the penalties, and we don't have the stupid mistakes. Let's actually dominate a team like we did in week 2 against the Texans, or 3 or whatever against the Texans.
Right. I mean, if we're gonna have mistakes, limit the mistakes.
I want to be able to dominate like we did the Niners, the Texans, the Packers. Well, for that first half, well, not going to talk about that second half.
Right.
But we should be able to dominate. Like, if we can play teams like how we played the Lions, I'd be very confident, because given we did lose, that was a really good Viking team.
Right. Right. We had the lead 10-0, and we had the lead again, like right towards the end, but
very, very good Lions team.
Yeah, they're a very good Lions team. So yeah, and that it makes me feel better that we can go in Detroit and beat them in Detroit. Them making the playoffs. I mean, we need to win in the playoffs, but we have to stamp our mark there first. So, and somebody asked me the question: Where would you rather have the scenario of us beating Detroit but losing them in the playoffs, or losing to them and beat them in the playoffs? I said I'd rather lose to them and beat them in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I would too. But the path of the playoffs, if things hold true, nobody upsets them, and they win out. Even if we beat them in the last game of the year, which is it's possible because they have a lot of defensive injuries now. They're not the same team that we played a couple weeks ago.
Right.
We need them to pick up another L somewhere along the lines for us to win the division. Whoever wins the division is winning the NFC, pending on whatever the Eagles do, right?
Right.
If we lose to them twice, but we're still the 5th seed, we might not run into them again until the NFC Championship.
Right.
So I mean, I like to be able. I don't want to beat them in the regular season, but then lose to them in the playoffs. But I do think it's important that we beat them in the regular season. Hopefully, it's for the championship, the NFC North Championship, and it's not just to even up the records because we're the 5th seed. You know, the biggest problem we have right now is the Packers are barking right up our ass. They're game ahead of us because they played early on Thanksgiving, but we need to win against Cardinals to maintain that 1-game gap with the Packers behind us and the Lions ahead of us. So now the pressure's on us.
Right.
I think every game. I think every game the rest of the season is pretty much a pressure game. We're playing against a first seed Cardinals. We're playing against the first seed Falcons, or not first seed, but in their division. We got the Packers again. We have the Lions again, and then we have a Seahawks team. So I mean,
we got Seattle.
It's gonna be tough. So
we just at this point we need the Bears to play spoiler with the Lions and the Packers.
But they can play spoiler against us though too, so that's kind of a good thing.
Monday night.
Yeah. So,
this is interesting here. This comment. Yeah, hey, bye. Gangs orange, purple cross-dressers. Where's their bras and thongs under their purple uniforms? Sick O's. Okay. I'm not sure if this is English or if this is shorthand, but all I'm gonna say is wearing bras and thongs under your uniform is still better than showing your entire ass to the fucking public on a world stage like the Bears did on Thanksgiving. Yeah. So we've got that going for us, if nothing else. So.
What kind of comment is that?
Hey,
I don't know, man. I just see that pop up like, what the fuck is that?
Here's another one. I gotta say, it's Ryan Day is a tough guy. Go Blue.
Hey, Merklinger, Lioness, Lion Cub. This isn't a college football podcast. This is NFL. So if we're gonna talk about anybody being a fake tough guy, it's David Montgomery eating a carrot while everybody got a drum.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. How do you guys feel about the Daniel Jones pickup? I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. I just don't.
I mean, at this point, Daniel Jones is a certified backup at this point.
Right. I mean,
unless O'Connell can lead him to water like a horse, like he did with Darnold, I see him being just the backup. Granted, is he a better backup than Nick Mullins? Well, time will tell. If he can throw for 400 on the Lions, I like the chances.
Best thing I can tell is Kevin O'Connell is really, I'm not going to call him woke, But I really think he's into the green ideology because I've never seen a guy try to recycle more than Kevin O'Connell, especially with quarterbacks. Now, so far, he's done great because Darnold is winning his games.
Yeah, he's leading quarterbacks to water. I mean,
Man, or he's an AA guy because he can rehab anybody, right? So
yeah,
I mean, if he can fix
he's
Daniel
rehabbing
Jones
quarterbacks,
and got Sam Darnold on track, now I mean, you put that guy in the Hall of
now
Fame
he's just
right
got
now.
to weave out Mullins.
The thing I love about Mullins is he's worth 400 yards and 4 touchdowns a game. The thing I hate about Mullins is he's worth 400 yards, 4 touchdowns a game, and 6 interceptions.
Right.
So
he throws up Jared Goff numbers, but with the L's, not with the W.
Right.
Yeah, Jared Goff numbers against the Lions.
Right. Oh my gosh. I caught the Bears Lions game. I caught a little bit of the Cowboys Giants game. I didn't catch the Packers game against the Dolphins.
So that whole Cowboys game, I look at it like this. I mean, Cowboys pretty much fucked themselves as if we're going off draft position. Like these guys were gonna have a top pick in the draft, and then all of a sudden they come in and it's just like they want to beat the Giants, and it's like what are you doing now? Now you're dropping further back in the draft, so you're basically just fucking it off for no reason. I don't see them beating the Bengals this week. I think the Bengals are going to be tough for the Cowboys.
The Bengals and the Cowboys are basically in the same boat. It's kind of who's
only difference is the Bengals got the edge because Burrow, he's no one to overlook. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
But what is their playoff projection right there? And both aren't.
Well, I mean, Cowboys, not really. I wouldn't say they're in the hunt, but in the AFC,
I don't think the Cowboys are catching the Eagles by any stretch.
No.
The
they're
Commanders
not even catching
story,
the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on a fantasy team, and when they're good, they're good. But even when they're putting up massive numbers, they're still taking L's.
Right.
And that points back to their defense.
Pretty sure that this game's in Dallas, I think.
So the Bengals are 3 games back in the wild card hunt, and the Cowgirls are only 2.
Yeah, well, I need the Bengals to come up big, even if it's in Jerry's world.
Yeah. I mean, I got T. Higgins on my fantasy, and I got Chase Brown, and that Chase Brown dude's been a stud for me. So,
the Bengals are just kind of like the Cowboys. Like, they have a lot of talent, and I don't know what Cincinnati's issue's been this year. They have a lot of great talent, and they're just not doing jack. The Dallas doesn't have a lot of great talent. They have some really, really good talent, and they're not doing anything either.
I think what it is with Cincinnati and possibly Dallas is I just think the head coach is probably losing the locker room, and their heart's not into it. That would be my guess. Could be wrong. I just think they lost the locker room.
I think McCarthy's losing that locker room, and I think he's on his way out the door as much as Mike Zimmer's going to be out the door too.
I mean, McCarthy lost that team in the playoffs last year. I don't even know how he made it back to this year. And then getting that big contract didn't help.
They didn't go out and try to make any moves. I mean, the only decent move they made was Eric Kendricks. That's the only move that made sense.
And ultimately, when it's all said and done, that team's going to be doomed because Jerry Jones is basically GMing the team. He's making the calls, and
he's the only owner out there that is GM of their own team.
I was
Right.
just going to say, until Jerry Jones gives up all that power and just stays as being an owner, he has fucked that team in the worst contracts. They can't get anybody because he's got the most absurd contracts in the world.
Yep.
And then when they do get people, it's all recycled Vikings from the 2017 team with Mike Zimmer, and he's not doing any better than he did his last 2 years with the Vikings. And outside of CD Lamb and a couple other guys, they don't have shit to show for an offense except for big contracts and underperformance. This is 100% because Jerry Jones is trying to be the GM of his team, and he sucks.
He's trying to be Al Davis. He's trying to be Al Davis, and he's not Al Davis. And the problem with the Cowboys is they way overpaid Dak Prescott. You know, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, I can understand that contract, right? Some of the other contracts,
Yeah, I understand him.
You can understand, but Dak,
I could understand.
If Dak was a free agent, like even the Raiders would pass on him.
I could understand, you know, them signing Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, but Dak, he hasn't proven anything.
Yeah.
I would have let him walk in free agency because he was projected to go to Vegas.
Vegas fans don't even want him.
Right.
Talk to Joe, he'll tell you. And then Joe goes, I love Joe because whereas Rob and I say, well, you know, we're seeing on X, he's a subreddit guy. And he's like, Raiders subreddit wants nothing to do with Dak Prescott. They want nothing to do with them in Vegas.
Dak, I mean, the Cowboys' best quarterback in my lifetime was Troy Aikman.
Yeah,
in my
for
lifetime.
Sure.
And their best head coach was Jimmy Johnson, who Jerry Jones forced out the door because their ideas didn't click. And guess what? Jimmy Johnson knows how to run a team.
Yep. And
give them the players.
They ended up fucking themselves.
Yep.
Well, it's like people saying Belichick is going to go to Dallas. There's no way in hell Belichick will ever agree to go to Dallas.
No.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Do you guys think Dak Prescott is an even worse version of Tony Romo in terms of not being able to win?
He's worse. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's worse than Romo.
I'd say that.
The problem,
and they have nobody lined up behind Dak Prescott.
No,
they have nobody lined up behind anybody for anything, really, except the whole ass ton of freaking big contracts that aren't.
The Trey Lance move was not a bad move because he was cheap, so that was low risk, high reward for a former number 2 pick, number 3 pick. I mean, so okay, fine, and they got their backup has actually been better than their starter sometimes, but the problem is this: they're going to fire Mike McCarthy, and then no one's going to want to coach that team unless you're a guy who's going to be this is your first opportunity, and you just want to take a head coaching gig so you can finally get a head coaching gig. What coach wants to go to Dallas and have to deal with Jerry?
Right, because at the end of the day, it's almost like you have a plan, and so you have to go to Jerry Jones to actually execute this plan. Jerry Jones is like it. You can't coach. You can't do your, hey, I need this, I need that. No, you need this, you need that. I can't win.
You want to hear my crazy theory on that, Ken? I think they're going to go to the college ranks, and they're going to go after somebody. Now, a guy that's from a school that is one of my most hated because they're a rival, but you can't deny what he's done. Matt Campbell from Iowa State has taken that program within the past 4 years of being a perennial loser for 90 years. That team has sucked in Iowa State, in Ames, right north of me. And he's turned them around. They're in contention for the Big 12, and they have been for the past 4 years. They beat Iowa in Iowa's own house. They've answered the bell for every major opponent that they've played in the past 3 years, including K-State. Well, like Matt Campbell on a lower level, but yet still, NCAA Division I. They're going to grab somebody like that.
Like the guy from Notre Dame, his name will get tossed around. I can't remember his name right now. And hey, you know what? We might lose a coach there, Rob. The head coach for Army.
I'm going to throw a name out there for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a name out there for you guys. You guys will probably disagree. But this guy knows Jerry Jones very well, and he's a college coach. Deion Sanders.
So we talked about that on the morning show. There's only one way that happens, and that's if they draft his son. If you draft Shakur, first off, you have to have the first or second pick, probably get him, which at this point maybe they will. I don't know. But then you've got the number 1 or number 2 pick in the league being Sanders, right? So now you got 2 quarterbacks. You got to get rid of one of them, probably Dak, because you're not going to pay Dak $60 million to be the backup to the rookie, and then you might get Dion. And that's the only way Dion goes there. Is this kid goes there.
You just dump Dak off to the Browns.
But the whole thing is like I said, he knows Jerry Jones very well. Those two get along. I'm just saying that's a possible scenario. But you brought up his son as a factor that could play a factor too. If his son doesn't get drafted by Dallas, then
he's not, because right now the Cowboys have won 5 games. Hell, the Bears are drafting at number 9 right now ahead of them. So there's no way that's going to happen for them. I mean, I look at. I don't disagree with you. I think that'd be a great marriage. And you're right. You could, Darren, you could drop Dak off to Cleveland and eat a bunch of that contract as part of the deal in a trade. But we'll see where Cleveland's at in the draft.
Or Dak can go to Chicago.
Or I could see Dak ending up in someplace like Seattle if they're done with Geno Smith after this year.
Or I could end up seeing Dak in Indianapolis because they're having quarterback problems.
Or
Here's
New
the
York.
problem. If you want to get the way it sits right now, if you want to get the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft, you got to trade with either the Raiders or the Giants. And the Giants are taking a quarterback. And the Raiders need a quarterback too. So you have a hard time convincing either of them to give you their first round pick in a trade for 2 first round picks and Dak Prescott with that contract. It ain't happening.
I mean, you would literally have to throw in Micah Parsons.
Almost. So I mean,
you would literally have to.
Now look, we've seen where Denver, they showed you can eat an $85 million contract and still win.
Right.
That's true with Russell. Yes. Who saw that coming?
I really like that Bo Nix kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if Jerry can get the guy he wants, I could see him cutting Dak. But the problem is he's not getting the guy he wants because the top 2 teams right now for the draft are both needing a quarterback, and they're both drafting. So Sanders is going to probably end up in Vegas, or probably Vegas, or New York. One of the other. That's it.
Or I was thinking, you send Dak down to New Orleans.
No, because they like Carr. Carr's gonna be a head coach one day, man. That's
here's the
they're
thing.
Not gonna win with Carr.
If we circle back to talk, and Darren had a valid point about Indianapolis, but the thing of it is, everybody in that coaching tree and the GM is tied to Anthony Richardson. If that fails, they're probably losing their jobs.
Well, there's one thing that can save them, Rob.
Send Richardson to Dallas. Send fucking Dak to fucking Indy.
If Richardson gets hurt again, where he's, they can always blame injury and save their jobs that way. I guess what I'm trying to say.
They do have that excuse for the injuries. Yeah, I guess.
But Dak doesn't help them. He doesn't really help them.
Yeah, not really.
Otherwise,
what do they really? The only thing that's remotely redeeming Dak right now is the fact that CeeDee Lamb is on that team, and a few other guys that'll flash here and there that are older. That's all the Dallas is recycled shit. Their defense is half of the 2017 Vikings, and then on offense, they got CeeDee Lamb and then a bunch of old dudes.
I
Brandon Cooks,
they need to when they
and
fire
Brandon
McCarthy.
Cooks,
when they fire McCarthy, they almost need to have a fire sale and just dump so many contracts and then go get younger, and acquire draft capital. That's what they need to do.
Literally, the only guy that should be safe on that team right now is CeeDee Lamb.
Michael Parsons too, yeah.
Parsons.
Michael Parsons, but yeah.
And Parsons is already
Trevin Diggs, see you, bye-bye.
Well, but they're not Diggs is on a rookie contract, so he's not expensive. Parsons said he'd play for the flag, right? He played for the whatchamacallit,
Franchise.
the franchise tag. Thank you. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they've got some guys they don't have to jettison because like Diggs is on a rookie deal. They can keep him, but they've got a lot of older players that other teams will be willing to trade a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder for that they're paying a lot of money for.
Brady Ducks.
Yeah, so I mean, they can probably move. They probably need to move off from them. They need to move off from Dak, but they can't. So they're going to suffer for another year, 2 years, probably with Dak before that thing becomes eatable. So, but you can build up the rest of your team, and then in 2 years, hope you can get a quarterback in the draft. Or you hope that maybe you're bad enough that next year you can get Arch Manning in the draft.
Oh my God.
But I mean, that's
So
look
there's
at
a
Dallas,
lot of
Another
ifs and a
Manning.
lot of shit that's got to happen for that. But,
See,
right? I mean, but I mean, if you're Dallas, though, like honestly, taking an honest look at Dallas, dude, their options, their window closed, and then they overspent to try to stay in it.
definitely. Now, if let's just say you're fucked no matter what because Jerry Jones is your general manager, so you're going to make
right.
bad decisions. But let's say the Cowboys actually made good decisions. What would you rather have on your team in the next 2-year window, Shedeur Sanders or Arch Manning? And who would you rather build that team around?
They're not going to get
Shedeur
either,
Sanders.
but Sanders.
I got an option C for that. I'm taking Quinn Ewers.
Well, I'm taking
Okay.
Sanders because he solves your head coaching problem too, because you get Dion along with Shedeur. So now you're filling 2 holes at one. And look, Shedeur Sanders has never been coached by anyone but dear old dad. So that's the other thing.
Right.
Anyone taking Sanders in the draft, that's got to be some of a question mark. The guy has only had one coach his entire life, Dad.
Right.
That's it. So I mean, Rod,
kind of surprised.
I take Sanders.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was kind of surprised he's a quarterback. You would think that maybe he'd be like a secondary guy, like a corner or safety. So that's kind of a surprise. But I guess you think about it, like Michael Pittman was a running back for the Bucs. Look at his son now; he's a wide receiver. So I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with some of these guys.
I mean, look at Sanders is probably the obvious coaching choice for Dallas, but is prime time going to go to Dallas and his kid goes to Vegas? I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't see that. No, I could see primetime taking over in Vegas. The son goes there.
They love Antonio Pierce, though. I don't know if they're going to fire Antonio Pierce. If they've been bad enough, they might fire him.
You necessarily don't have to fire Antonio Pierce.
Rob, I got a question for you.
He's muted.
You turn off your screen as if there's a big Packer logo on your thing.
Yeah, he is. That's a restream issue, not a Rob issue.
Oh, God.
He's not a Packers. Yeah, I know.
I know that. Maybe he lost a bet or something. I'm like, geez, what the hell happened here?
No, we only make them do backgrounds if they lose that kind of bet. But Antonio Pierce, it's kind of like in Chicago, right? Like I think it was a bad move to promote your interim offensive coordinator to your interim head coach, because if we like Brown, which we do right now, and you want to retain him as an OC next year, you just burned that. Because now if he's not your head coach next year, he's not with this team next year. Guys who are head coach of a team in any capacity don't get replaced in that position and go back to being an OC on that or DC on that team. They just don't.
All right, now let me ask you a question, Ken. Who do you want as your head coach going into next year? Do you want Brown or would you like Ben Johnson?
Nope. I don't fuck Ben Johnson. I don't want him. Nope.
Who do you want?
Chucky.
Mike Zimmer.
I want Chucky. I want Gruden's court case to get arbitrated in the next month or two, and he's already expressed interest on Barstool. I would love. Could you imagine John Gruden in Chicago?
Oh my God!
Oh, come on! That's better than Ditka. I mean, Ditka had a scowl. Ditka had a scowl, but no one has a scowl like Chucky.
So you want Chucky in Chicago?
I want Gruden. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Chucky.
And you know what? Gruden, look at the thing about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is very, very smart, intelligent quarterback. When Gruden left Vegas, the only reason that team functioned was because Carr was the only one who understood Gruden's playbook. The only one in the building who got it. Maybe because they were next door neighbors too. I don't know. But Carr, if you look at Carr, when they fired the coach there, Carr took over the offense. He's the offensive coordinator and the quarterback right now for all intents and purposes. Chucky is a very complicated offense, but I think Caleb Williams, he's already shown that he's smart enough, intelligent enough as a football player to handle a Gruden offense. So, yes, I would love – and Gruden on defense, oh, he would keep the fire on that belly. I mean, if you think Ditka would give you a dirty look, let Chucky give you a dirty look.
Who would you want as your D coordinator?
You know what? If I could keep I would keep the current DC, which is named Wright or something like that. Look, he's been a DC in name only under Flus, but let's be real. Flus may have sucked as a head coach, but his defense is legit. Ranked 8th in the NFL right now. I would keep that DC, run the same defense. Now, the next 5 weeks are kind of like an audition for him as DC, but if he can run the plays better than Eberflus was or maintain it, then I would hire him. However, because Saleh does run a 3-4, I would not be adverse to hiring Robert Saleh as a DC to be Gruden's DC. And if Brown would be willing to stay as the OC,
as a DC, no, man.
Yep. I mean, and if I could get Brown to accept not being the head coach anymore because he's only the interim, but to actually be the full-time OC, because the working relationship he has with Caleb is really, really good, I would do that. So I think that would be almost a dream scenario. I'm not sold on Saleh because I don't know if he runs it. Does he run a 3-4 or a 4-3? I think he's a 3-4 guy.
Yeah, so I think he's a 3-4 guy.
No, he's a 4-3. Well, no, wait, no, is he a 3-4 or 4-3? Anyways, if you do not have to change the scheme in Chicago, I think we're running a 4-3 right now. So if I can continue to run a 4-3 with that, that's the thing. You have to pick a coach. So like the DC who's in Detroit now, what's his name? He would make a good head coach in terms of.
You're talking about Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn would make a good choice in a sense because he's also a 4-3 guy. So whoever the Bears, if Saleh runs a 4-3, if Saleh's like, hey, I can run the 4-3, then Saleh makes sense to be the DC in Chicago. And for Saleh, that's a good gig because then he can reprove himself as a coach to get another head coaching gig down the road. Just like Eberflus. Eberflus will not be should be a head coach next year. He should be a DC somewhere next year.
So say you got Aaron Glenn as your head coach. Now who would you want as your OC? Would you still
I'd want to keep Brown if I could. If I could keep Brown the way Brown's doing right now, I'd want to keep Brown so I keep the playbook, keep everything going. But the problem is, well, Aaron Glenn's an offensive guy, so it doesn't matter who my OC is. Now I need a DC, so I'd still go with Robert Saleh. I don't know if Brown would stay for that either. But like I said, I'm not big on any of these coordinators from Detroit. I'm really not. I mean, look at they're 1-2 in the league, but the problem is, are the Bears going to want to wait? Do these guys fit the Bears system or the personnel packages? If I can get Chucky, it's a no-brainer. I take Chucky. I go to Robert Saleh, say, hey, can you run our base defense? Can you run this scheme? You can? Great. Here's a job to be the DC under Gruden. I go to Coach Brown, say, yeah.
Or what if Robert Saleh becomes your head coach?
No.
There's a lot of Lions fans Aaron Glenn.
Saleh, look at Saleh and Eberflus both need to be DCs again. They're both really good defensive coordinators. They need to regroup, go back, be a DC for a couple of seasons or two, get the stink off them, and then go back to being the head coach.
Does Saleh really need to go back as a DC, or was that Aaron Rodgers whining because he couldn't get his way?
It does. He, just for his reputation, he needs to go reprove himself as a DC. And that'd be a smart move for him. Look, you go be a DC for 2 years, take a defense that's ranked 15 and turn to top 5. You'll get another head coaching job easy. Same for Eberflus. You'll go take a top 20 defense, turn to a top 10. You'll get another head coaching gig in a couple years. I mean, that's the way this league works, right? I mean, Eberflus was not a terrible coach.
Right.
He just wasn't ready. Maybe this was his first head coaching gig. He made first-time head coaching mistake that cost him his job, right? Go back, be a DC, hone your craft, and get another shot. Same for Robert Saleh. Go back, be a DC, hone your craft, then get another starting gig, head coaching gig 2 or 3 years down the road.
Here's an interesting thing, and I want to circle back just a little bit because we talked about Bill Parcells, we talked about the Cowboys quite a bit, or not Bill Parcells. No, we talked about Bill Belichick. I'm saying they brought Bill Parcells in to try and fix the Cowboys. He couldn't even fucking do it. And Bill Belichick comes from the Bill Parcells coaching tree. I don't think Belichick would touch the Cowboys if his life depended on it, as long as Jerry Jones is doing what he's doing. Now, the Raiders, that's interesting because of Tom Brady being part of the ownership of the Raiders now. But what do you think a realistic landing spot if Bill Belichick decided he wanted to coach again next year? What's realistic?
Jacksonville.
Off
the top of my head, Jacksonville.
That's
the Browns aren't going to fire. I don't think the
but
Browns are going to fire their head coach. He's not going to go back to Cleveland.
Kevin Stefanski has done a lot with the Browns, so I don't think they're going to move on from him.
I think the only way the Raiders move off of AP is if they draft Sanders.
Let me ask you guys a question. If Cincinnati doesn't make the playoffs, do you think they're going to keep their head coach around?
Yeah.
Tough question. Probably.
Oh, okay.
It's one down year, man.
That wouldn't be a bad fit for Belichick. Joe Burrows. They already have the talent right there.
It's one down year for them, though, and I don't know if the coaching was the issue. Like, they've had a lot of other issues, it seems, but I think that that you can't put together the last couple seasons that Cincy does have one down year, which
needs defense and they need offensive line.
Yeah, so I think he's safe for another year. I mean, he could be the one that gets fired, and we're all going, "Oh my God, they fired him on Black Monday." But
no, but I'm saying at the end of the season, if Cincinnati doesn't make the playoffs, I mean, they didn't make it last year.
Oh, they're not making the playoffs
because Burrow got knocked out. But if they don't make it with him around and all the weapons they have, it's like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost his job. And then, as we talked about Belichick coming in,
Belichick wants too much control, and so what GM wants to hand over any control to the head coach like that?
You hand it over to somebody. I mean, yes, he did have Tom Brady, but he knows how to win. You already have the quarterback in position. You already have the wide receivers in position.
Look, I'm not saying. Look, Belichick could work in Jerry land. But Jerry would have to cede some control or some decision-making process, or they would have to do it in such where the two of them would have to agree on, there would have to be a system in place for the two of them to each have a certain amount of control, veto power, or whatnot. And the problem is, I don't see either of them doing that, but I mean, there's probably is a road to do it, but I don't know if Belichick could save what they've got, that mess that's there. I could see. I don't know where else Belichick goes besides.
If Jerry Jones had a lick of sense, he would give Bill Belichick on a 3 to 5 year deal 100% control over the entire team. Step the fuck back and let Belichick build a team. But Jerry Jones, he won't do that.
Or
that'd be the easy button.
Or
if you're a Cowboys fan,
I could see Bill Belichick going back to the Browns. Remember his coach
he left there with a bad taste. That was okay. The Panthers, their head coach is new. They kind of like him. So Carolina's out. Chicago's out because Poles doesn't give him control. The Saints are a possibility. Let me see if the other ones are possible. Raiders, I'd say probably no. Jaguars are a possibility. Not the Patriots. The Titans?
What about Indianapolis?
Dude, Indy's like they're the eighth team in the conference right now. So I don't know if Indy's in that hunt or not. Or the Jets. The Jets for that matter. We forgot the Jets.
Oh yeah.
Man, Belichick with the Jets.
Or the Giants.
Yeah, or the
How
Giants.
married are the Giants to Drabble?
Well, I mean, look, Belichick, the experience with New York going back to the Lawrence Taylor days. So could be a
What's
homecoming.
got the better building blocks between the Jets and the Giants, though? I mean,
The Jets. Well,
Probably
the
the
Giants
Jets.
probably have a better
I mean,
defense.
Yeah, the Jets, in my opinion, have the better building blocks.
But overall, the Jets have better building blocks, I think. Even though the Giants did really good with Malik Neighbors offensively to sign him, but they really built up a really good defense in New York. Both New York teams have good defenses, but I would say that the Jets have more weapons on offense to work with. But they're going to have a quarterback issue because I think Aaron's out of there after this year. They're just going to cut him.
So if Mike McCarthy doesn't get fired, say if I'm Bill Belichick, I go to the Jets. My first order of business is I'm going to send Aaron Rodgers to the one place where he's going to suffer, and that's Dallas. And I'm going to make him fucking be on the team with the fucking person he hates the most, Mike McCarthy.
right?
I mean, look at that. There are going to be quite a few good jobs open. That's what I'm saying. Like with these guys out of all the Bears. Look, Bears fans want whatever his name is, the OC for Detroit, and like why? That whole team. Goff isn't. But Goff's numbers because they've got the best running game in the league, and he game manages. He doesn't do anything special. You put pressure on the guy, he folds like a bad deck of cards. I mean, no, Ben Johnson, no, thank you. Look at the Bears' job is going to be the most coveted job in football this year, this offseason. It is. The Bears are going to have their pick of the litter.
I want to interject something, not to get off track, but this is kind of in the same vein of what we're talking about. But being how we're Vikings fans, and Ken, you're a Bears fan or whatever.
All right.
What are we doing next year? Do we bring Sam Darnold back for one more year because he's going to cost money this time? Especially if we win this Sunday, it's double-digit wins. We were only supposed to win like 6 or 7 games. We're hitting 10 wins, double-digit wins.
Rob, you said 6 or 7. I said 9 or 10.
If JJ McCarthy, does he need to sit for another year? You think while healthy?
I would.
Or because Sam Darnold's going to cost money this time around. I mean, we got him.
And don't forget, you got Daniel Jones now too in the mix.
Yeah, but
fuck Daniel Jones, dude, he's out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones is a practice squad guy right now, as it sits. Can things happen throughout the rest of the season or the offseason? Maybe, and it probably will. But do we go with something that we know? Like if Sam Darnold ends up having 12 or 13 wins, do we pay him a little bit extra to come back for one more year? Let McCarthy sit for one more year yet, which would make me feel more comfortable, I guess. Or is it JJ McCarthy's team next year? What do you think we do?
Here's the problem, Rob.
I would give Darnold a 3-year deal.
Yeah, here's the problem, Rob.
Just as a safety pad.
Well, no, but Darren's on the right track, though. He's on the right track because here's your problem, Rob. If Darnold takes you to the playoffs and you win a playoff game, God forbid for you, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. God forbid you win a playoff game with Sam Darnold as your quarterback. Come on, man. You have no choice but to sign him almost.
Because look what Case Keenum did. We booed him out and brought Kirk Cousins in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the rank and file of the fan base.
One playoff game. Because
God forbid he takes you to an NFC championship game. Let's say he gets you to an NFC championship
winning the playoff game ain't enough for me.
Okay, so let's say, I mean, look, you guys aren't the rank and file. We are not rank and file fans. Okay, if he gets you, God forbid, to an NFC Championship game, you got to pay him to stay. You almost got to, because look at that, because the other PC argument, which Rob brought up, which is very right.
Game.
You've still got a rookie quarterback. For all intents and purposes, JJ McCarthy is still a rookie quarterback. He has 0 game experience in the NFL, and you can't bank that he's going to be ready next year. So you have, but here's what you do though: you sign the deal where next year is the big pay year, the big cap year for Darnold, and then the last 2 are very team friendly, where you can jettison them if JJ McCarthy's ready. But the problem is, you also have Danny Dimes sitting there, and he's going to be in the mix. And you're going to, so
he's not in the fucking mix, dude.
Oh, Danny, mark my words. Mark my words. By Monday, wait, right, Darren? By Monday, he'll be elevated to the mix. He will be elevated to the backup come Monday. After your game this week, he will be elevated. Because the only reason he's not elevated now is they want to give him probably 2 weeks to learn to play.
You're telling me he's gonna be sitting right above Nick Mullins? I don't think that's happening.
Oh, he's above Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins is trash, dude. That's why they went and got Danny Dimes.
The fucker hasn't even played a fucking snap in the first last place in the fucking practice squad.
They didn't put him the active roster on Monday, the day they got him, because they want to give him at least a week or 2 to learn the playbook. By Monday or Tuesday, he will get elevated to the 52 watch or 53 watch. He'll get elevated, and that's good. It's good insurance if Darnold should get hurt. That's not a bad.
Dude. No, if something were to happen that was tragic, I don't want to go ahead and wake up knowing that fucking the hopes and the prayers of the fucking team is with Daniel Jones. That doesn't make me feel good, dude.
And yeah, Darren, I agree with you. The reason why is because Nick Mullins has some chemistry with Addison and Justin Jefferson. And he knows the offense. Daniel Jones doesn't. He doesn't have that mix in yet.
Or downside about Nick Mullins is he'll throw the triple, quadruple fucking coverage and end up with 6 turnovers.
But watch, I'd almost bet that he'll be elevated by this upcoming week, probably Monday or Tuesday. That's why they signed him. But I mean, for next year though,
that's a possibility.
To Rob's question, though, I think you have to re-sign him, even if he wins you only 1 playoff game. You kind of have to re-sign him just because it's either re-sign him, re-sign Danny Dimes.
I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be with this team next year. I think he'll be a free agent.
But that's the point, though, Darren. Like, you have to almost re-sign the Ghost Hunter, because is JJ going to be ready? You're not going to bet the farm. I'm not with.
So he's going to get paid on that. I'm saying
Darnold is going to get paid in Minnesota.
I would re-sign Darnold, and I'd let fucking Daniel Jones walk. Sorry, Bob.
Daniel Jones for the league minimum is a great safety net this year over Nick Mullins. He is. That was a good move. Danny Dimes is not a ref. He's not horrible. He just played for a shitty offensive line and a shitty offensive team in New York. It's a much better situation for him in Minnesota. A lot more talent to deal with for him if he goes in a game. I think he's not going to throw a lot of bad balls. Like he's not going to throw.
We need a legitimate running back too behind Aaron Jones.
Yeah, that's one of the things we have to do in free agency or the draft is a better running back than Ty Chandler. And Cam Akers, I love having Cam Akers on the team, but he's not getting the snaps behind Aaron Jones. But I want to move to this real quick. So Darian West in the comments says, I say Sam Darnold's performance in the playoffs should determine what the Vikings do with him. Yes, you're not wrong, but check this out. The reason why we were able to get Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, Blake Cashman, all this stuff that we have going on defense is because we are paying a quarterback $10 million this year, and he was originally going to be a backup, but our rookie JJ McCarthy, who's still on a rookie contract, by the way, so it keeps us cheap, right? Next year, Darnold, if we bring him back, especially if he's a double-digit win quarterback and wins a playoff game, he ain't going to be cheap anymore. We're going to have to pay him money. How does that – I don't want to bring Darnold back at the expense of having to deter away from what we've been building on defense. especially with
Right.
I mean,
Right.
these guys are under contract for more than 1 year. Granted, yes, but we need a defensive tackle first and foremost,
Yeah.
worse than anything.
Not just that, but also we need to also put in consideration that Brian Flores might not be around next season. The way people have been talking about him, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody offers them a head coach position.
I
Wouldn't
wouldn't
be
either,
surprised.
except for the fact that his lawsuit against the NFL over that Dolphin shit is still pending. I halfway think we're still safe in being able to keep him as long as that lawsuit's going, because I think a lot of teams aren't going to touch him. But if he ever settles that lawsuit, we're probably losing him right that whatever year it is, right after that. Because yes, I mean the guy's earned more than earned it. His chance, like we were talking about, go back and be a D coordinator for a while.
So
What more
for
can you
next
ask
year,
taking a team?
Unless something
next
happens
year-
and he ends up inheriting the team.
Yeah.
So for next year, this is before we get the bump. But right now, you got 38 guys under contract for next year, and you've got about almost $76.5 million in cap. Now we know we'll probably get a $20 or $30 million boost. So you guys are going to be sitting somewhere between, we'll call it 76 and 96 mil with 38 guys signed, which means you got to sign what?
Well, the Vikings, the
14,
Vikings have more
15?
money than God next year. That's not a problem.
Yeah, money
we also
money's
have
not
guys-
problem for us next
The
year.
question, I guess, Rob, here's the better question. It's not that if you're going to re-sign Darnold, because it's almost look like you're going to almost have to at this point, right? Because is JJ ready? You got to have a serviceable quarterback. At least, with him, he's going to have won you at least 9 games, maybe 10, 12, 13 games this year. So the question becomes this: how much are you willing to pay Darnold to stay a Viking next year?
1 year, 30.
Or I would do,
And I would prorate half of that into a bonus.
I'd go lowest I do would be 2 years around 28. But I would like
28 annual.
throw in some shit in the contract though.
Well, Darren, I think he'll get 30 a year if we win double-digit games. Like, if we win tomorrow, we're double-digit winners.
Yep.
Teams around the league will pay him 30 a year because the good starters are getting 50 a year. I could see us doing 30, but moving 15 of it into a prorated signing bonus that pays out over the next, 3 to 5 years or whatever, however they want to do it, and whatever. I would like to see a 2-year contract, but I bet you if it's 2 years and you're at the 28 average over 2 years, I can see that. But I also think they're going to prorate some of it into a signing bonus and everything as well, because then you can split the rest of that remainder out over a 5-year period if you need to, which makes sense.
Well, I'm going to try to find Darnold's current contract and see what his
It's 10. It's 10 and some odd change is what he's getting this year.
Yeah.
Figure the fact that he's been a starting quarterback all year. He's about to be double-digit wins, and if he wins a playoff game, he's getting at least 30 from somebody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
But I guess the question is what's more important for him, money or
but the big question
for a Super Bowl?
But the big question is he going to want to go elsewhere? What if he wants to stay here?
If I was Sam Darnold, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else in the entire world other than right where he's at with the Minnesota Vikings, because he's never had anything like this in his entire life, and he might not ever again.
Right.
Right. I mean, which teams could he fit in where actually he's got weapons and there's like a decent offensive line?
You're not going to get better weapons on any team in the NFL than the Vikings right now. And yes, Ken, you're probably going to rebuttal this, and I'm not really talking shit, but you're not going to get a better weapons than what the Vikings have right now in the year of 2024 for any quarterback. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Yeah, I know you're wrong, and you know you're wrong, but that's okay. Let me see. So Darnold actually, he has a void year for next year.
Yeah.
There is a void year in his contract for next year. So They don't have to void him out.
No, they can invalidate the void year, add whatever money that the league average is, I guess, for his position and his stats or whatever, and keep him on. They've got him if they want him, but what do you do?
Oh, here we go. Let's see what his market. Okay, here, that was looking for his market value. Guess what his market value is right now, according to Spotrac.
I don't know. I haven't looked at ProTrack in a long time.
32.4. They figure he'll get a 4-year, $129 million contract.
Sure.
Just over 32 million a year. QB
So,
league,
right around 30, they're figuring the high end at 32. Okay, that's about exactly what we've been talking. So yeah, that makes sense.
So, but it's kind of like it's different, but it's the same, right? Because for me, it's Keenan Allen. The money's not as high, right? But like for Keenan Allen, I'm like his Spotrac, they say he's worth 16. I'm like, you know what? See if you can get it for 14, your average over 2 years, but make it a cap-friendly deal. I think you could do the same thing with Sam Darnold. Give him 2 years for 60 or 65 mil, but make it cap-friendly. Whether it be bonuses or what other stuff you do, but make it cap-friendly. And you could do that. The Bears could do that with Keenan Allen. You guys could do that with Sam Darnold because it's the free agent quarterback class. Now, look, there's another option, right? That might be cheaper than Darnold, and you're going to laugh. But Justin Fields and Russ, both of them aren't staying in Pittsburgh next year. Probably, they're both free agents. One of them might become free. So if Justin Fields is free, do you take the flyer on Fields and give him a $10 million deal like you gave Darnold this year, and say go make your 32 million a year somewhere else, Sam, and we're going to take a flyer on Fields for 10 or 15 mil?
I think Fields will stay in Pittsburgh. My opinion.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
think Fields stays in Pittsburgh.
I think
Russ.
If Pittsburgh does anything, I got to jump off of here too within the next minute. But if anything, Pittsburgh, I think they're done with Russell Wilson and they'll run with Fields next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you take Russ for 10 or 12 or 15 mil for a year?
Russ will never play for
JJ
that
McCarthy.
Russ would never.
He's playing for league minimum right now.
Yeah, but that's only because Denver's paying out the rest of his contract to him.
Yeah,
I don't see Russ playing for that low.
Russ is 35 to 38 a year minimum if he leaves Pittsburgh.
I don't think many people are going to be willing to pay Russ for that. I mean, he did revitalize his options this year, but
highest I would pay Russ would be 35.
Yeah.
I mean, the other question is outside of Sam Darnold, what are going to be the other veteran quarterback options to be
outside of Russ? Not that many outside of Russ.
Well, let me ask you a question, Kevin, because you talk about JJ McCarthy. I mean, he's sitting.
But
he's
Sam
got to sit out because he's injured.
Though.
He's got to sit because he's injured. But you're talking about him not being ready for next season. What makes you think he's not going to be ready for next season?
Dude, it's an ACL. Who knows if he's physically ready or not? I mean, it's until he's ready, he's not ready. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, they can say rehab is going fine, but how many times have we seen with guys at various positions in the game where they're rehabbing, then there's a setback or something else, or or what if he re-injures it? How many times do we see a guy come off an ACL injury, plays 2 or 3 games, and re-injures it and is gone again? So if you're the Vikings, you don't want to bet the farm on JJ, who has no game experience. Yes, he's been in the locker room, he's been in the meetings, he's learned some things, but 0 game experience, and he's coming off an ACL. So you got to have some kind of bet.
He does have the preseason games. He does have the preseason stabs, which is totally different than regular season, but it's not.
Right.
Okay, guys, I got to head out tonight and everything, but Darren, John, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. It's been fun. We'll catch up with you guys again next week. So, Skol. Here's to the win tomorrow.
Skol.
Talk to you later, Robert.
Yep.
So I mean, you see what I'm saying, though, John? You gotta have some kind of insurance policy because of that ACL.
Correct.
So what are your options? Yeah. And then, like, the other question though is this: with Russ being a free agent, let's say Russ is the free agent. Okay, and then you got the guys who are going to draft a quarterback. Probably going to be, New York wants the Giants are going to draft a quarterback. The
Possibly the
Raiders are
Jets, too.
definitely drafting a quarterback. But now you've got.
I could see the Jets drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, the Jets are going to need
Rodgers.
the Jets are going to need a quarterback. So what's to stop the Jets from re-signing Darnold?
Fuck that, dude.
But here's the other question. You ready for this one? Let's say Darnold wants a 4-year, $32 million a year contract, and you guys are like, no, dude, ain't happening. We got JJ. Okay. And you let him walk. And look at it, it's the business side of it, right? The business side sometimes wins.
He ends up going to Indianapolis.
Right. Let's say Indianapolis wants to give him 4 years of $40 million. You guys are like, dude, we can't fuck with that. Okay, now you still need insurance. Now you got Danny Dimes who's still sitting there. I know you guys don't like that. But oh wait, Aaron Rodgers just got released by the New York Jets.
Oh my fucking
Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me.
Here we go.
He actually said that name. Holy shit!
Here you go with the fucking Brett Favre route.
And you know that, and not just but isn't that it is a funny thing? I know, but hey, it's like Chicago running backs. They leave Chicago to go to the Jets. Forte went to the Jets. Thomas Jones went to the Jets. Right?
It does sound kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it sounds tempting at the same time because he's throwing the Jefferson, he's throwing the Addison. He knows how to read defenses. This guy knows how to win. But at the same time, he carries baggages. He's a diva. When he does have that.
He's a problem. Dude, he's a head case.
Yeah. It's an option. But what other options are you going to have in the free agent market next year if Darnold walks?
The only suitable option that's a veteran that I'd be willing to take in would be Russell Wilson. He's not a diva.
Yeah, but is he going to do a 2-year, $30 million a year deal?
He's a proven winner, and he did well with.
It depends. Super Bowl right off the sunset. Here's a good opportunity right here. They got the weapons right here.
But also look at it this way: how long does Russ want to even continue to play in the league?
That's the same thing I have with Keenan Allen. And look at, we live in interesting times in our division, right? Usually in our division, no one wants to come to the teams in our division. We are never the it division that people want to come to. This division, right, and the people that are going to make us all better. Minnesota, because the way you guys are playing this year. Detroit, because, well, let's face it, they've been playing on another planet. Green Bay, because Green Bay has been good. Chicago, because all that talent that's on that team, depending on who they get as a coach.
We get a lot of Green Bay free agents because they want to get back at Green Bay. So, I mean.
Well, that was Aaron Johnson. But I mean, the point I'm making is that guys will want to come play for our teams in the North now, whereas before they didn't. Coaches want to come and coach in the North now, whereas before there was like, oh, I guess at least it's a job. You know what I'm saying? Like Chicago is going to have, dude. Tell me Chicago is not going to be able to pick any coach they want and have them get a contract. Like, what coach is going to turn that situation in Chicago with Caleb down?
That's true.
And
that's
then
true. If they get hands on and they can like, hey, here's the players I need. Let's go get these players. Yes.
I mean, with the roster they've already got, though, you're going to get anyone you want. They're going to say we want, and you know what they're going to say? We want more O-line and D-line, and Poles and say, yeah, I was already cooking on that. When I look at Detroit, when I look at Minnesota, and if you need a quarterback, what serviceable veteran isn't it come to play there at the end of their career if they think they can win a Super Bowl or they want to win a ring? I mean, I think you guys, if you look at Detroit, whatever they're going to need, same situation. You look at Green Bay, whatever they're going to need, same situation. Because the North right now is probably the best or the second best. It's either one or two in the NFL.
Right.
As far as good teams.
We're definitely the best division in the NFC.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, so now we're going to get, like last year, Saquon went to the Eagles because the Eagles were really good and was close to home. But now we're going to get that with our team because of where they all sit right now. And look at the Bears. Don't let the record fool you with Chicago. Like, these guys aren't looking at the Bears like they're a 4-win team. They're looking at the Bears like they're like an 8 or 9-win team and can go places next year as long as the right coach is hired, right? That's why I think the Bears are going to want to qualify the coach before the Super Bowl is even done.
That's true, but they can't announce who the head coach is till after the season, correct?
No, they can announce today.
Oh,
here's the problem.
Yeah, they
The
could.
two
That's
guys-
true. They could.
The problem is Detroit. So everyone wants, we want the guys from Detroit. Well, the only way you can get the guys from Detroit is if Detroit, and we see this every year, teams ask permission to talk to OCs and DCs for head coaching jobs. 90% of the time, that access is granted. But if you're Detroit, are you going to let your OC or DC take a head coaching job interview with Chicago? No.
Right.
No,
I wouldn't let any coach in the North go interview with another team in the North.
Now, once the Detroit Lions season is over, be it what they lose the play in the playoffs, they lose the playoff game Sunday. On Monday, they can't stop those guys from talking to anyone. But if they make a Super Bowl run, those two guys, the Bears aren't talking to them because they want to have their coach before the Super Bowl.
Correct.
So that's the problem with those guys.
And usually it's usually conventional wisdom, like a playoff team that's had a lot of success. They usually don't talk about them, taking a coaching position until after they're out of the playoffs or they've won a Super Bowl.
Well,
like who was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings in 2017? What was his name? Come on, Darren, help me out here.
I'm trying to think.
He went to the Giants.
Yeah.
They didn't answer after we lost the Eagles.
Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, Pat Shurmur. Yep.
So but like these guys, when they're in the playoffs, a lot of times their teams will let them interview, and then they got
also throw in Kevin O'Connell. He waited till after the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But they won't. They can't announce them, but they can interview before the Super Bowl.
Right.
And a lot of them do. And there are rules. Like I think it has to be. It can only be a Zoom call. It can't be longer than 2 hours. Blah blah blah. There's all those rules, right? But guys interview, and like the Super Bowl happens on Super Bowl. But the problem is the Lions aren't going to let the Bears talk to them, and I don't think the Bears want to wait that long.
No, I don't think the Bears want to wait that long either.
I mean, I know it's a pipe dream to get Gruden, but goddamn, I'm allowed to dream, can't I?
Or you guys end up getting Bill Belichick.
I don't know if Belichick works in Chicago, to be honest with you. I don't know if Belichick works.
You don't think he would work
with Ryan Poles? No, because Poles
you might get Matt Patricia. Wouldn't that be fun?
No. Poles,
Mike Zimmer.
I don't think. Look, unless Belichick is willing to not have any control with personnel,
all he'd have to do is run the team operations and run the defense.
I mean, if Belichick would be relinquish all acquisition or player personnel issues to Poles, then yeah, Poles might hire him. But dude, you can't. And the thing is, if you're Belichick, how can you look at Poles and say, well, you're not cutting as far as personnel? Have you looked at that roster? Yeah, he's cutting.
Which is why I'm saying he might look at it as, okay, I don't have to run the day-to-day operations of the whole team, because look at what this guy's doing with this team.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the other thing people don't think about with these coaching hires is culture and how they fit into what's already in the building, be it the GM, the players, and all that. And does Belichick fit in with what's going on at Hallis Hall right now in that team? Does do any of these, what head coaches fit in, what head coaches don't? There's a lot more than just their previous records. There's a lot about personality,
right?
And stuff. And fans don't. Most of these fans, like, dude, go to Bears Twitter. They don't understand that. You should see some of the shit I see. I mean, I love them, but it's just like, you're dreaming, dude. I mean, more than me, Gruden, because that guy won't fit this team. I look at, there's some other guys who I think are interesting. Ron Rivera. Rivera is an interesting candidate. His name will probably come up because he's a former Bear and he was a DC for the Bears, and it always comes up. Singletary's name will come up, and that's a hard no for even me. He's a great player, just can't coach. But Duerson will come up again.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, not Jurison, Leslie.
Wow, Darren, you're still running the show. I was like, damn, he's still alive.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, there's no one after us, man. We can take all the time we want.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, for all the guys,
I always thought there was somebody after us.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
And for all you guys watching on X, you do know you can make comments from X. So please do. A lot of you are on X. Please make comments from X. You can comment during the live stream, and we'll see your comments pop up right on the screen.
We should have an open mic and just have people come on and start trash talking.
Because I was going to say, if there's no one after us, I could talk to Mike and Bill and make me go longer.
Well, no,
we could trash talk those two clowns.
Yeah, well, remember we had open mic was what 2 hours and 15 minutes ago. We had open mic night, but no, I mean, dude, I think that there's some interesting bylines for the offseason already. Now, look at the real thing that shocked me was that the Bears did what the Bears did this week, because that just broke 105 years of tradition.
True.
Like, I've been arguing for weeks. Look, don't even talk me off Flus. It's not going to happen. They're not going to fire him. We don't fire people at the end of the season. Black Friday comes around and the Bears fire him on Black Friday. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, in the 100 years that you guys have been the franchise, never fired a coach in the middle of the season like that.
Yep, he's the first one in 105 years.
Yep.
So,
well,
okay.
And you also have reason to fucking to can his ass.
I think for him it was more about the way he talked, the things he said, than
also you look at it when you guys were in those one possession games where you guys had opportunities to win, and the game was in his hands for him to manage. He didn't.
Oh no, I agree. I think he probably would have gotten shit canned at the end of the season. But I think the reason why Poles did it now was because the way he
handled it after the game. Yeah. When he went out there and made that press conference and he was all cocky about, I'm going to go into San Francisco, and just like, you're not going to take any accountability for that loss.
Well, no, but that's just it. Though. I'll give him a lot of credit because look, even though he made himself look like the biggest fucking idiot in the history of football, he was taking the pressure or the heat round off of Caleb for not, spiking the ball or calling a timeout himself and changing the play. I mean, he deflected all that away and took it all on himself, but he did it in such a stupid way. Poles almost had to fire him because of the way he answered it. He was trying to do the right thing, but he just fucked it up royally.
So from what I heard is when Poles went into that locker room after that game, his face was fucking beat red because he was fucking pissed.
Yeah, I was too. Like Caleb, spike it, call a timeout, be the quarterback.
But also, Eberflus could have called the timeout.
He could have. He could have, but the point. But this is where I look at it a little differently, right? I look at this as a great learning experience for Caleb. And look, we knew we were already out of the playoffs before this game even started. Let Caleb learn the 2-minute drill is the quarterback 2 minutes, right? The coach doesn't run the 2-minute drill. The quarterback does. We know that. Every quarterback in the league runs their 2-minute drill. Caleb should have spiked it or called the timeout himself. He didn't. So, but then in the press conference, does Eberflus say, well, Caleb needed to learn? No, he takes the heat round. He takes the blame. He puts it all on himself in a way. But the way he said it was just so jacked up that it created even more of a problem than what it was. So I applaud him for trying to take the heat off of Caleb and not to have heat rounds thrown at his rookie quarterback who just made a massive rookie mistake, right? But Caleb just learned a very costly lesson that he'll probably never repeat again. And Eberflus tried to deflect it. But the way he deflected it was just bad, and that's what got him fired more than anything. Right. Well, we do the exact same thing. What do you know? You wouldn't. If you knew now what you knew then, no, you would have done something different, dude. The way he answered it when he said that got him fired more than anything. Otherwise, they would have waited till the end of the season and reevaluate.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the coach, hey, get up there, spike the ball, or call a timeout. Preserve the time, and
I think the other piece of that, though, Eberflus knew that we don't fire coaches mid-season, I think he let that get into his head, thinking, "Well, I'm
Right,
safe."
and he got it wrong. Yeah,
Yep. So
I mean the
I think that's
Vikings. The last time the Vikings fired a head coach in mid-season, I think, was Brad Childress. I believe he was the last guy. Is that correct? I think it's 2010 after we got slacked by the Packers, and that was after we signed Randy Moss, and then eventually we had to let him go because of some.
Yeah. So the second year with fucking Favre. And wasn't it the second year with Favre, or is it the year after that?
2010. Yeah, it was 2010. It was 2011.
Yeah.
It was Leslie Frazier was the head coach.
Yep. We end up firing him, and fucking Leslie became head coach, and Favre went into the sunset and was like, "Yep, not coming back."
Yeah.
see ya. Bye-bye. Yep.
He got beat up by the Saints, and that was
It's just like the thing I don't understand with Brad Childress is like, okay, we had Favre for a year. Let the guy go off in the sunset. The guy did everything he could to take the Vikings to the Super Bowl, and we got to the NFC Championship game.
right.
That's fine with me. Now let's just go out and find a fucking quarterback in the draft. Nope.
Here's
Take
the question: how safe is your head coach?
O'Connell.
Yeah,
He's safe for now.
I'd say he's pretty safe, dude.
Right.
Granted, his first year here, we won the division, and now we had really low expectations coming into the season, and look where we're sitting.
Yeah.
Nobody
I mean,
expected
but
it.
you know what though? I mean, I would say his seat's got to be a little lukewarm, just because if you guys go 1-and-out, there's going to be like, all right, what's the problem here? This guy can't win.
Right, but you got to remember when Dennis Green was the head coach, we went to the playoffs in 92, 93, 94, and got bounced off in the wild card all those years. Got bounced on the wild card in 96 by the Cowboys, and then finally beat the Giants in 97. And ultimately, 98 went to the championship, and Gary Anderson missed the field goal, preventing us from going to the Super Bowl, and the rest of it. It's pretty
You
much
guys
a
have
shit
more
show.
heartbreak than the Chicago Cubs do. Shit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this week's be interesting. Tomorrow's game is to be interesting. I'm gonna be watching because obviously you guys are the only game in the North tomorrow, so I'll be watching. Next week I'll miss the games. Well, I'll miss all the early games. I'll get home by the second half of the Bears game because we're taking a cruise on Tuesday. So,
Don't you guys play the Niners?
yeah, we got the Niners next week.
Is
Winnable game.
Is it in San Fran?
Yeah, it's in San Fran.
I've got a question there for you, Ken. Can we get Rick Mott on the show one of these days? Can we get him in? Give his
If I never see
analyze.
that dude again, it won't be soon enough. I have no desire to ever talk to Rick Mott.
I just had to throw it out there because I want to see your response.
Or can we do like a live debate between Rick Mott and Darcy Maville?
That
that would
debate
be
will last
interesting.
2 seconds. Because Darcy or Mott will just end up cursing at him and storm off, and Darcy will yell over him and ask if we're going to do a show. Like what
Well, actually,
Darcy did in the
Rick-
last show on Valhalla, or no, was that Valhalla Last Star? Whatever it was. No, it was on on open mic
That's
night. When
Frozen.
Darcy came on, he totally killed the show. Darcy, are we having a show? Are we having a good show? It's like, shut the fuck up, Darcy. We were doing just fine till you showed up.
Hey, he went after you. He was like, Ken, you remind me of my wife a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like,
She's
and
great,
then
then she starts
Darcy
nagging.
starts attacking me. I'm like, dude, I'm not the guy you want to attack. I'll just boot you. Like, I these other guys like you, Darcy. I don't care one way or the other about you because Darcy's pulled a lot of shady shit on a lot of people.
We
right?
like having him as a punching bag, man. So don't get it twisted, man.
Oh, I know, but when he came in, he starts coming at me. I'm like, motherfucker, you went from the 1980s Miami Vice look to like strung out crackhead look.
Oh my God,
Christ, Darcy. Darcy's an idiot.
All right, well, Well, we're gonna wrap up Skol Gang 365. I'd like to thank Ken the Bear fan for hopping on and joining us for the show. Pleasure having you on, Ken, as always.
Yeah.
I always enjoy it.
John, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So we will find you next week, Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is Skol Gang 365. We are out, signing off. Skol.
Deuces.
Oh.